Oh, hey Pete. I see you have a green thumb as well.
Magic the Gathering.
Hi, my name's Danny.
My name is Peter.
And today we are going to be looking at our top 5 favorite mono green cards to play in Commander, in Magic the Gathering. You all know that green is all about growth, +1/+1 counters, trampling, mana ramping, and landfall.
The way we're going to do this is both Danny and I have chosen 5 cards each. Secretly, we haven't told each other what our picks are yet. And we're going to start at 5 and work our way up to 1, slowly revealing our picks and explaining why we chose those specific cards. I have a feeling that my 5 are going to be very different from yours.
I wonder if there's a bit of overlap, Pete.
If there's any sort of overlap, I will be surprised.
Guess what? Here's my plant token.
Damn it!
I just nabbed it from behind. Number 5.
Let's go.
Alright, you ready?
First reveal.
I'm nervous.
Imagine if it was the same. 3, 2, 1. What the hell?
A spore frog!
Bro!
Oh, whoa.
Are yours all going to be rare? Oh, okay.
That's so different.
Yeah, very
wow.
different. Okay. I chose Spore Frog. It is a 1 to cast creature frog at 1/1. Sacrifice Spore Frog, and then it has a colon. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn.
Brutal.
I love this card. It's common in rarity, but it's one of my favorite cards.
It's like an amphibian shield, isn't it?
It is exactly what it is. It's basically an amphibian fog. Not really versatile. I play it in my Muldrotha deck.
Muldrotha, yes.
The reason I played in Muldrotha is because it's good on its own, in my personal opinion, but when it's reoccurring from the graveyard, it's insane. It's unstoppable. It's got a lot of green flavor to it. I love the illustration.
It's a 1-drop.
It's a 1-drop.
And you can just have it sitting on the battlefield, so if someone's going to attack you, you can go sack the Spore Frog.
Exactly.
Prevent all the damage being dealt to you.
I also really like it because you don't have to tap it to do it, so you can play it and sacrifice it immediately, so it just increases its versatility, gives it more of an instant kind of effect. Standalone, it's nice. Reoccurring, as I said.
When this card comes out, it definitely leaps off the table.
Okay.
My number 5 is Courser of Kruphix. It's 2 forests and 1 generic mana to cast. It's an enchantment creature centaur. Basically, I can play with the top card of my library revealed, and I can play the top card of my library if it is a land card straight out. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under my control, I gain 1 life. So the really good thing about Courser of Kruphix is that it provides card advantage. The fact that you can take lands from the top of your deck, put them right out, meaning that if you've got a really strong landfall deck, or if you're playing Lord Windgrace, there's a lot of landfall triggers that can be triggered just off this 1 card. It's really cheap to get out, gives you card advantage. It does have the disadvantage of the fact that other players can see what's in your deck at the top of your deck, so it does have that small downside, but the fact that you can probably churn through your green deck a lot faster is a lot more powerful, I think.
I was going to say, green, if you're playing mono green, there's not a lot of card draw. I don't play it, personally, but good choice, good choice. 2/4.
I like your choice too. Your choice has irritated me in the past, but I've learned to live with Spore Frog.
That's why I chose it, just to aggravate you. Number 4.
Yes!
Alright.
This is really exciting. I'm really nervous. I think I'm starting to grow some roots here.
Oh, dude.
In my hair, in my hair, in my hair.
3, 2, 1. Oh, I was gonna pick that. I was.
No way. Is it number 4 in? Oh, I
no, I can't say, but it was a strong contender for sure. Another rare. I chose another common.
Well, that could be a pauper video. Wow, these are different.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna go for like some old school style cards. So I think this is a nice balance though between like new and old. Yeah, cool.
I chose Taunting Elf, another 1-drop common. It is so 1 green, 0/1 creature elf, and its ability.
Merry Christmas.
And its ability is all creatures able to block Taunting Elf do so. Massive win con in a lot of decks. If you can get it down quickly, it can just sit there until you're ready, or if you can get it out suddenly and for shock value and go in for a swing, give it haste somehow. It's classic green. It's the go wide strategy. Green's all about creatures, in my personal opinion, and
plants.
And
Plants are creatures too. In the magic world.
Yeah.
Not in real life, but in the magic world.
I was like, wait.
They're classed as creatures in the
They're
magic
living
world.
things. I feel like if you're playing mono green in Commander, you're going to have a lot of creatures. Whether you're trying to put poison counters on someone, or make your creatures unblockable. The Taunting Elf, just for that one hit, you can take out one player, or what I've done in the past, or taking out a whole table of players if you've got enough creatures to go wide, and then Taunting Elf.
And the fact that all creatures able to block it have to block it.
Yeah, it's insane. So of course, once you swing with the Taunting Elf, it dies because it's blocked by everything your opponent has. But everything else of yours gets through. So,
and just like green, it regrows.
Yeah, that's right.
It's definitely a good card to have that you can sacrifice in order to
100%.
play a bigger move behind it.
And I like the flavor behind it. Like he's got like he's like teasing. He's like, over here, come over here, my friends.
So mine is an instant card, a green instant called Heroic Intervention. It's got Ajani on it. I love Ajani. Bit of a main. It's 1 forest and 1 generic mana to cast. Instant speed. Permanents you control gain hexproof. So that's all of your cards. So that's artifacts, enchantments, creatures, and they gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn.
Lands are permanents.
Well, there you go. Very flavorfully green. If someone plays like a Naviral's Disc or Wrath of God and does a board wipe, this card is your saving grace, because for 2 green mana, or 1 green and 1 other mana, which you're going to have a lot lying around in Commander, especially towards the late game when all the fields are built up, this card is going to protect your board state. And when everyone else's stuff is wiped out, this is going to be there. So someone's Cyclonic Rifts.
Yeah.
Everything back to player's hands. This is going to protect it, giving you the advantage of not having to recast things that other players have removed. And this card has won me a couple of games as well, where things have wiped, and this is like, you know what? No.
Well, I always keep an eye out if I'm versing someone with green and I'm doing a big play. I'm always wary, especially with Danny.
I think the hexproof and indestructibles, it's like just 2 layers.
It's covering its bases.
Yeah, it's if it was just indestructible, it would be strong. The fact it's got hexproof as well, just makes it double. It's like a double band-aid. Yeah, basically. It's double shield.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a very nice card. Well done. Okay, let's go.
I'm glad you agree. We go.
I love how mine.
This is exciting.
Mine are like,
but that's good.
Like heaps of old school nostalgia of it, and like.
Well, that's because you played for a really long time. I've only played for about 5 or 6 years, but I like. It's got some nice balance.
Yeah.
You do play a lot of green, Pete.
I'm a biologist.
Hey, look, I've majored in microbiology too. So, number 3.
3, let's do it.
Okay, we're at the halfway mark.
3, 2, 1.
Bang. Oh. Boo. You play this?
Yeah, I know. Alright, it's a 1 green. It is an enchantment. It's pretty old school, so it's classified as an Enchant World, which is just an enchantment. And it is creatures can attack or use abilities that include the tap symbol in the activation cost as soon as they come into play on their controller's side. So with green, I feel like there's a lot of activated abilities. Giving all your creatures haste. This can be a very strong surprise, a kind of attack. You put it down and then do some sort of combo, get a lot of creatures out and go wide straight away. So it's basically taking away, it's giving you more information and hiding it from your opponents. So it's kind of like that surprise attack thing I was talking about.
And not to mention, it can be paired with other colors, so it's a very cheap card to use that could be paired with like red or white.
Absolutely.
And you know, that tapping ability is on pretty much like a lot of creature cards. And that tapping ability you can't use straight away if you cast it from your hand because of the summoning sickness.
So not only do they have haste, but they also have, you can use their
it just gives literally everything that you have.
And as with the Taunting Elf, if you play Conquer Crossroads on your turn, and then build your board up somehow, and then play Taunting Elf, you can swing with the board, and including Taunting Elf on that same turn.
It's just accelerating your gameplay, isn't it?
It's pretty insane. The only thing that's only downfall, it is
landfall. Downfall.
It's only landfall. Wait, what? No, its only downfall is
Wizards of the Coast are taking notes on that keyword, by the way.
Yeah. The only downfall is it's not just you. It gives it to everyone. It's usually a win con. I will only bring it out when I'm ready to swing big.
I think because it's only one forest.
You can do a lot.
You're definitely going to have one forest in a big game of Commander. So timing when you're going to use it later in the game, when you think the field is pretty in your favor, is going to be quite strong, isn't it? So it's a very tactical card to use.
I would never play it. I would never play it turn 1.
My pick is Seedborn Muse. It's 2 forest and 3 generic mana. It is a creature spirit. Its ability is untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step, meaning in a game of Commander where there are 3 other players, during their untap step, you can untap all of your lands, your artifacts, your creatures. So you could attack really heavily at one player who might be vulnerable. Then at the beginning of the next player's turn, you can untap all your stuff and have your defenders back, or use that soul ring essentially 3 other times around the circuit before it gets back to you.
That's what I was going to say. How I play this card is with all the mana dorks in green. A lot of creatures produce mana.
Yep.
So like, you know, you've got Lanoma Elves and everything like it.
And mixed with a Nyxbloom Ancient, which when you tap a permanent, it produces 3 times the mana instead. Could you imagine Seedborn Muse with Nyxbloom Ancient? When you tap a Soul Ring, you get 6 instead of 2, and then that's on the beginning of everybody's turn. Meaning for your activated abilities, this card is going to be super powerful.
It's wild, with green.
Evolving Wilds, no. It is pretty vulnerable, but very powerful for casting certain spells, and it's really versatile for comboing, and you're essentially playing 3 mini turns before it gets to your main turn as well. That's the other thing I like about it.
You can play it in any green deck.
That's what this video is about. We are ready for number 2.
Number 2! Let's go! 1,
bang!
I knew that!
Well, it's a fitting spot for number 2. Doubling season, double the counters, number 2.
Doubling season.
Sylvan Library.
This was a
look, it's not a 1-drop at least.
I know. This was a contender for number 1. I'm not gonna lie. So I chose Sylvan Library.
The old school art for this one.
Sylvan Library original art is better in my opinion.
Enlighten us, Pete.
Well, it is 1 forest and 1 generic mana to cast. It is another enchantment. Green represent enchantments.
This whole video is green.
You may draw 2 extra cards.
It means you get the choice to.
You may draw 2 extra cards during your draw phase. If you do so, put 2 of the cards drawn this turn back on top of your library in any order, or pay 4 life per card not replaced. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life.
2 to cast. 2 cards, number 2. I see what you're doing here, Pete.
Yeah, I did.
Sylvan Library.
I did that on purpose.
The layers there.
I think this is one of the best green cards, especially mono green. We mentioned earlier that drawing cards in mono green is you know, it's not a common theme that you usually get, and this is such. If you can get a Sylvan Library down in turn 2 in an EDH game, it just gives you such a big advantage. You don't have to take the cards. Number one, you get to look at them, so you know what's coming next. It opens up your options so much, and it is, I would say, almost my favorite green card.
Ooh, why wasn't it your number one then?
Well, I'll explain it in when.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this explanation.
It's very high up there.
It's quick filtering, card advantage. You're able to kind of get to the cards that you want if you're looking for particular cards in your deck. It's an enchantment, which means people aren't always thinking about enchantment removal, so it's really hard to get rid of if you don't play that way.
It flies under the radar a bit. People don't really pay attention to it. One of those things.
I'm paying attention to it now.
Yeah.
Just so you know. And all future games. That's still a library. Yes.
I think it's pretty expensive nowadays. But and lastly, the fact that you can stack the cards in any order, the two that you put back.
There is green.
Yeah, there's so many.
That's a blue flavor.
I know. So we're not talking mono green here, but stacking decks and where you need to know the order of what's coming next and things like that. For a lot of combos, that's relevant. So, you know, it's versatile as well.
I agree. That is a very good card. Good choice.
Yeah.
As good as doubling season.
I don't. It's too expensive. If it was cheaper, I'd be like, fine. But
doubling season, double the price, double the value, right? Also an enchantment. 1 forest and 4 generic mana to cast. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many tokens instead. Twice the number of elves, twice the number of plant tokens, twice the number of soldier tokens.
Twice the number of
Twice the number. I feel like one of those sales marketing people. You get 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
The second effect is if an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent you control, it puts twice that many counters on that permanent instead. So if you cast a planeswalker, you put double the amount of loyalty counters on it. If you've got a Hydra, you're putting double the amount of counters. I like to synergize this with something like Azuri, where at the beginning of combat you can move experience counters and the amount of counters you put onto a creature will be double. Although the experience counters in Azuri don't double, but the counters that are put on the creature at the beginning of every combat phase would double. And so it's not just +1 counters, it could be poison counters, loyalty counters, any counters would work really well. Like if you've got proliferate or populate.
I mean, let's be honest,
just
green plays a lot of counters. There are
a lot of counters. Yeah. It is very powerful. That's your takeaway message from this.
all of your picks are insanely powerful. Mine are more subtle, but there's more.
Well, the viewers can kind of choose. Do they want to go subtle or mix and match both? Sure. That's the beauty of a double top 5 list.
All 10 combined.
Oh, doubling season is like 5. Double is 10. The number 1 card, and this is a little trophy that I'm going to award to our number 1 card. It's like a little plant trophy.
Well, I go. Which one?
Both of them. They're both number 1.
Alright, I'll have it there.
No, we'll award it to one of them. Okay. Number 1 card.
Alright.
You ready to reveal?
I'm ready. 3, 2, 1. No way! That's amazing! Yeah! We got one! Bro!
I thought this was going to be on your list.
Yeah.
When you mentioned earlier 1-drops, I was like,
yeah.
I wonder if Birds of Paradise will be on the list, and
bro, I can't believe you put some of that.
And it's a different art, it's modern, so sticking with the modern theme.
But it's funny because it was a contender for number 1, like I almost put it up there. Oh, I wanted to put Elena Elves because that's my favourite green card of all time. Birds of Paradise is just the same thing, but in my opinion it's slightly better. Some people disagree, but essentially does the same thing. It's 1 green to cast, it's a creature, it's a bird.
It has beautiful.
It has flying, which is nice. Tap it and add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So that's a benefit there. Lanois Elves just taps for green, whereas this is any colour, and it also has flying.
So 0/1. Slightly more flexibility than Lanois, because Lanois is only forest.
Yeah, and also this one has flying. Lanois has power 1, this has 0, this is power 0. But, you know, it's a better card. There's a reason Lanois is worth nothing, and this is you know, worth a lot of money.
So there are expensive cards in your...
But Sylvan is expensive.
Sylvan is expensive.
Yeah, this is so essential. Green is all about ramping. We all know this. They have big fat creatures.
Any way you can.
Any way you can, you ramp, especially in EDH. If you're playing green, you're ramping. If you're playing any color, you're ramping. If not with
If you're
green.
skateboarding, you're ramping too.
Yeah, like, this is your number one priority. In my opinion, the biggest goal, at least at the start, is to ramp up and get the cards out. So, Birds of Paradise, it's flexible, it ramps well, it's any color. Also, in a bind, you know, a Birds of Paradise has saved my life. When someone swings at me with a giant flyer that I just can't block any other way, and
especially if it's like a 10/10.
Yeah, like a big fat
demon angel or something,
which is very common.
It's only a 0/1, or especially if you're playing me.
Yeah, it's a chump blocker as well.
You'll just block it and get stop the damage.
It's just a good card all around.
Especially the flying is almost like that little bit of elevated.
Yeah, flavor.
I know, elevated. It's that elevated level of flexibility that sometimes in a game of EDH you just need that slight advantage to kind of cushion the damage that you could take.
Yeah. I think this is the best mana dork in Magic, in my opinion.
And that's why we have this video.
Yeah.
I want to see your opinion.
Yeah.
I value your opinion very much.
We already talked about Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library!
Let's see.
It's a different alternate art. I think the really good thing about Sylvan Library is drawing more options.
Yeah.
Having more options, filtering through to get combos that you want, in particular with if you're playing mono green, this is a really, like, I would say an essential card to have in a mono green deck, because there aren't other ways that you can get to cards in your deck. I mean, there's like Worldly Tutor, I think, that can get like a creature that can fish it out, which isn't as strong as this ongoing drawing option and having that extra cards. I mean, your opponents are probably going to have 7 cards, 6 cards. This is going to net you more cards and more choices, which essentially you want to have, because that's going to give you card advantage, extra ways to get your card combos, and also to just really dominate the field. This is so cheap. It's only 2.
Difficult to
one
get rid
green,
of.
one generic. It's so hard to get rid of.
Flies under the radar.
I absolutely agree. Not the Birds of Paradise doesn't fly under the radar, flies over. But I don't think the 4 life cost is actually that much to pay.
No.
I think it's the advantages far outweigh the fact that you've got to pay 4 life just for extra choice. Thank you once again for joining Pete.
Yes.
And myself for another Magic the Gathering beginner video, and I hope these cards have helped you to give you some ideas about what sort of cards you'd like to include in a mono green deck.
Particularly EDH, mono green, and as we've said in earlier videos, green is a good place to start if you're a beginning player.
So which one does this plant trophy go to?
Sylvan Library, because that's the
Sylvan Library gets the trophy.
Sylvan Library.
Also, if you really like Board Game Sanctuary and the videos that I produce and that I produce with Pete, as well, particularly the Magic videos, please consider supporting my Patreon page. Link in the description box below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone that you know. This is Danny signing up.
See you later.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
We did it!
Our top 5!
Bro, a crossover? How did that even... That was insane. I was not expecting a crossover.
And I like how the crossover was at the end.
I know.
Did you really both had the same one at the end? That would be so funny.
You were like, hold? When I revealed it, we think it was going in your head. You were just like, you're like, damn.
But also, that's why I didn't say anything, because I didn't want to like spoil it. But yeah, I liked your reaction though. Your reaction was like,
awesome.
Yeah.
Are you looking here?
Yeah, I'm looking there.
Oh.
But you can look up there, it doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
Nah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Peter with 8 more kilos tonight.
And I'm Danny, and I've gained 5. 5 kilos in Magic cards, that is.
You've gained more than that, bro.
Alright, 10 kilos, 10 kilos in Magic cards.